In this video, I want to talk about emotions and how they basically work. Because despite so many years of education that we get, most of us have no idea how emotions work and how to deal with them, what is causing them and so on. And especially men, I think, because men are conditioned that emotions is weakness, that we should all operate from the mind, be rational, and just ignore emotions or not act on them and don't even pay attention to them. So emotions and feelings, what's the difference? Feelings is a different topic, but what emotions are for me and how they work is basically it's thoughts that you believe so much that they become tangible. You can feel them, you embody them, you feel these thoughts in your body. That's emotion for me. And to give you a simple example, let's say that you are super intelligent, you have a verified high IQ, top 1%, whatever, and somebody tells you you're dumb or you are stupid or you are not intelligent at all, you probably don't have a reason to believe that, because you're intelligent. You have a very good proof, objective proof that you are intelligent. So it doesn't bother you, right? But let's say that you have some insecurity or some reason to question that. Somebody says that you are not smart, you are not intelligent, and it hurts. It hurts because you believe that, or at least consider that. You think, okay, maybe am I? Oh, maybe I am. And then you feel it. But this is the key point. If you believe a thought so much, you can feel it in your body. Now, I want to talk about stuck emotion or trapped emotions in your body. Because when you feel emotions, and especially negative emotions, we tend to resist them. Because they are unpleasant, we don't want to feel them, so we resist them. But then they are stored in our system. I believe that they are stored in our body. I know it sounds weird, and there are people who work on that from different angles, but I believe from my experience working with myself and other people that those negative emotions and traumas that are not processed fully, not healed, not released, they are trapped somewhere in your body. And it can manifest as problems with different organs or different issues, physical issues. So, first, we believe something or consider it. We feel the negative emotion. And then if you resist that, then it tends to be stuck in your system until you heal that, release that. And I'll talk how it works later in this video. But I want to talk about three ways, three modes, how people tend to respond to or react to stuck emotions. So take an average person for this example. An average person over life accumulates a lot of negative emotions, a lot of negative emotions that they don't want to deal with. They don't want to look at. They resist it. And it's stored somewhere. And it builds up. It accumulates. And this is the reason, one of the key reasons why for an average person, if you just put them in a room and say, without any distraction, without a phone, without anything to read, anything to do, just sit with themselves. Most people can't stand just being with themselves. And that's a fact. I don't remember the details and specifics, but there were some experiments done that people were just locked in a room with themselves with nothing to do. And I think there was some kind of reward for if they can sit like for 3 or 4 hours or something like that. And vast majority, almost, if I remember correctly, almost everyone, if not everyone, just couldn't do it. Because what happens? The moment you are with yourself, this kind of bubbles up. It comes to the surface. All the suppressed stuff over years, over your whole life, just comes to the surface. And it's just too much. And you don't know how to deal with that. It's overwhelming. So there are 3 ways that people generally avoid that. Or deal with those stuck emotions. One is suppression. So it's just suppressing these emotions deep into your subconsciousness, and you pretend that they're not there. And men often do that. I did that in the past. What's interesting is that it seems to me that everyone has their default mode, how they deal with those negative emotions. And for me, it was suppression. I just suppressed all that deep into my subconsciousness, pretending that it's not there. And I was like, okay, I'll just operate from my mind. It's not there. I'm not going to allow it to affect me. But at that time, I didn't realize that I was making myself more, emotionally unavailable, just dead inside. That's not a way to live, to be joyful, to, try to operate only from your mind and pretend that emotions don't exist. So suppression is one option. Second option is distraction. So you're just distracting yourself, finding something to do, occupy yourself with anything so you don't have to sit with yourself and look at these emotions and feel them and beliefs associated with them. And the third option is expression. It can be through anger, but not necessarily. So expression is just that, you're overwhelmed with emotions so much that you want to release that, you want to throw it out from your system. And usually it happens with other people. So you throw it out, but somebody suffers in the process. So that's not nice. And it, comes back to you in some ways. You affect other people in a negative way. There are other ways to express it that doesn't affect other people. Maybe you can just channel it to workouts, to a gym session, or sing, scream. There are many ways to express that, right? And it might seem like it's a good idea, but how it usually works, generally, is that it gives you a temporary relief. Because you are just throwing out this excess of energy that's coming from this emotion. But the root of the problem is still there. So you get a temporary relief, but it will build up and you'll have to release it again. So, like I said, everyone uses all of these 3 options to some extent, but from my observation, people tend to have this default way of avoiding or resisting, dealing with those negative emotions. Like I mentioned, for me, it was suppressing. But I know people in my life for whom the default mode is expression or distraction. Which one is yours, by the way? If you don't mind sharing that and how it works for you, then let me know. If not, that's also fine. So the solution, what's the solution? Well, the key point is to understand that emotions, generally, they want to be felt fully, experienced fully. It's okay to feel emotions. The solution is not to be, unemotional. It's just that if you feel emotions, then just allow them to pass through you. So they are like a wave of energy. And if it just passes through you, then it's fine. It just comes and goes like a wave. But for multiple reasons, it can be stuck. The energy of emotion can become stuck. One of the reasons is that it's just so unpleasant that you resist it. You don't want to feel it because it's so unpleasant, and you just resist it and it becomes stuck. Then the solution is, and I'm very simplifying all that, this is a deep topic. People devote lives to work with emotions like that, and all kinds of therapies. I'm making it very just oversimplified because I don't want to make this video 1 hour long. But in this case, it's just allowing yourself to feel that emotion. And one example how you can do that is just create space for yourself and just allow yourself to feel that. Even invite this emotion to, I want to feel you fully. I want to experience you. And just sit with that. And I know it's uncomfortable, but just sit with that. If you meditate, this is going to be much easier if you don't do any kind of inner work. But for emotions of this kind, it's just a matter of allowing them to be experienced fully. And that alone is healing. Now, another reason that emotion can get stuck as it passes through you is that it attaches to a belief or to an idea. So, like with the example before, somebody tells you something unpleasant, that you're dumb, and you consider it, believe it maybe to some extent, and this emotion passes through you, but because there's a belief that matches with this, it kind of gets connected and attached to that belief. Then to release that, it's also necessary to work with the belief, because you can release these emotions one way or another, but if you don't remove these beliefs, then something else will stick to it sooner or later, and you will be hurt again, and the same cycle will continue. I hope you found something interesting in this video. This is a deep, deep topic. Books are written about it and will be written about it. I just wanted to give you a very general look on emotions. If you're interested in that, then let me know. I can recommend you maybe some books or resources, how to work on that, where to start and do the releasing. Befriend these emotions. And emotional world is a deep topic. Thank you for watching.